If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is Saturday and officially Labor Day. Far as I understand, it's November 11, 2023, and today the topic is, why are ya stubborn? Why are you stubborn? Oh man, I hope y'all had a fabulous Friday. Mine was just fine. The main thing that me and my little family did was spend a lot of QT. We ended up having a family movie day marathon situation. Started off with a little brunch and whatnot, and just watched movies pretty much all day. That's what we ended up doing. And I enjoyed it. It was nice. Good little time had by all, I believe. And yeah, man. That's what yesterday looked like in a nutshell. Thank you to those of you all that tuned in to the GSL talk show last night with Brother Rodney Footman. I hope that you guys were able to, be encouraged and inspired by him and his testimony and everything like that. I appreciate the brother for his transparency and whatnot as well. Listen, we all have sinned and fallen short. So, no judgment on someone else's journey in life and things that they went through and learned and X, Y, and Z. I'm just glad to hear that things, worked out on the other side and everything like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you guys can go and tune in to yesterday's episode at GodSexAndLove.com. It is our featured episode for the next week. All right. Anywho, man, so this Saturday morning, I woke up to this juice. Yes, it's a little bit later than usual. I just looked at the clock and it literally says 8:08. I don't know if that means anything or whatever the case may be, but you guys can look that up if you want to. But yeah, this word stubborn. I got led to this word stubborn this morning. And the interesting thing is, of course, again, as a theater major and everything like that, one of the first things that came into my heart and mind when I heard or felt the word stubborn was Iowa Stubborn from the Music Man. Look, shout out to the Music Man. I want to say that show, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the first times in my hometown outside of, church and stuff like that, showing a little bit of my skills on the stage. Was it middle school or high school? I can't even remember right now. I think it might have been high school though. But because if y'all know my journey again, there wasn't much programs and whatnot in my school and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I was Ethel Toffermeyer and the Music Man back then, and yeah, there's the song called Iowa Stubborn. Do you guys know it? I mean, I might not need to sing too much of it, but it goes a little something like this. Oh, there's nothing halfway about the Iowa way to treat you when we treat you, which we may not do at all. It goes on and on to talk about basically these people in Iowa and how they just have this sort of air that, the lyrics literally say a chip on the shoulder attitude that we've never been without that we recall. I kind of chuckled at one of the last lines that I read this morning from the lyrics. It was saying, you can eat your fill of all the food you bring yourself. They just invited some people to the picnic and they say, oh, what the heck, you're welcome. Join us at the picnic, but you can eat the fill of all the food you bring yourself. Are we like that today, y'all? Are we stubborn? Are we Iowa stubborn. Well, I guess the question today is, why are you stubborn? And I mean, we could be all, stubborn about a few things, in life, X, Y, and Z. But one thing we don't need to be stubborn about is what the Lord is asking of us. So that's what the inspiration came from this morning. And that's what I went deeper about. And, that's what this juice going to be about today. All right. So obviously I looked up the word stubborn this morning. And this says in the definition, having or showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude or position on something, especially in spite of good arguments or reasons to do so. I think we all have been there, one way or another. The funny thing is, I often joke, once we had our son, that, obviously, our son is a perfect mixture of me and my husband. And then I say he's both stubborn and determined. And, and I usually, in my joke, I usually say, I'm not going to say which one represents who. And I guess I still won't say per se, right? Because who knows? We both could probably be both, right? And everything like that. Now, I do feel like one of us is a little bit more one than the other. But hey, again, the same could be said on the flip side. So, anywho, but yeah, stubborn. Are you stubborn today? I definitely have observed this. I mean, who knows? Again, I'm sure this is talking about me in some ways. You know what I mean? I'm definitely, stubborn in some ways. I'm sure. And things of that nature. Now, I try to be stubborn about the things of the Lord. I try to be stubborn about the things that I feel like God's leading me to do, things of that nature. But, I mean, again, we all have sinned and fallen short. So, I mean, it seems to me, like, just looking at this definition today, that the determination and stubbornness, there's like a fine line. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be determined so much to where, it's like all borderline stubborn. So that could be something as well. And then I guess what I'm seeing about being stubborn in particular is like being stubborn about something that you should not be stubborn about, right? You're being stubborn about something that, you should totally bend on, or that you should totally, compromise, or whatever the case may be. I guess that's when you get to be stubborn. And I definitely know some stubborn people, and like I said, I can look in the mirror and be like, girl, are you stubborn, Miracle? Listen. But, it's interesting, it's definitely interesting. And that's somebody like that has conversations with stubborn people, right? Sometimes you just really want it so bad for somebody where you're like, if you just only see, taste and see that the Lord is good, you could be over here at peace like me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it took me a long time to get here. And I'm trying to be honest about that, Again, there's ups and downs to this journey that God has put us all on. And speaking of that, I came across Deuteronomy 21:18 through 21. And it is probably a lot of pulp. It's probably like a lot of stuff that we might not like in X, Y, and Z. Like, honestly, again, y'all can go and read it on your own because it's in the Go Deeper section. But it's talking about what, I guess, the Lord told the people in Israel to do to those that were stubborn. And you again, it can make you, look up at the Lord and be like, well, Lord, look, that sounds kind of mean. That sounds kind of harsh. Obviously there was, tough treatment for stubborn people back in the day. And then here we are living in a society that everybody's stubborn. Everybody's pointing their fingers at the Lord. And I ain't talking about the pointer finger. You know what I'm saying? Like all kinds of stuff, right? And it seems like things are just getting slide by the wayside, and stuff like that. It's getting looked over. That's how it feels sometimes. You're like, well, because when you say, for example, you're trying to live a righteous and good life, whatever the case may be, and then you look out and you see those that are just, out there doing whatever. They the ones winning. They the ones got all the money. They the ones got this, got that, whatever, and you feel like those are the people that are blessed. But that's why we need to be renewing our hearts and minds, because at the end of the day, you'll start to look at blessings a little bit different when you take on the mind of Christ. But anywho, that's another conversation. Let's stay on this conversation about being stubborn. So, even though I'm not going to share that part about that's in the Go Deeper section, take a look at, hey, how stubborn people used to be dealt with. And I mean, again, you might want to seek the Lord about, the wisdom behind it and things like that, the context and stuff. Because again, when you read certain lines by themselves, you like, ooh, that sounds, ooh, Lord, ooh. But hey, put your little pride to the side and ask the Lord, the reasons and all that type of stuff. And if he wants to reveal it to you, he will. But let's get into some more verses, y'all. Speaking of things being revealed, this is the first verse that I felt led to write down this morning. And it's Proverbs 28:14. It says, "Blessed is the one who fears the Lord always, but whoever hardens his heart will fall into enmity." Now, calamity, excuse me, thank you, will fall into calamity. So, now, unfortunately, I know y'all like, oh, Lord, stop talking about this man. I ain't told y'all his name, so I guess it don't matter, but I'm going to tell this story probably the rest of my life because it's just crazy. But anyway, again, those that have been following me on this journey consistently, then y'all may know last year, I think it was, that I had a conversation, a few conversations with an atheist gentleman. And the first few conversations was cool, you know what I mean? But then it switched. It switched towards the end of our, I guess, time together, or whatever the case was. And honestly, as I was writing down this verse this morning, I just couldn't help but think about him. You know what I mean? We could be just so stubborn that we're just like Pharaoh, right? We're so stubborn where, no matter what God does to reveal himself, no matter what, we're just going to refuse outright to follow God's will and way. And it just don't turn out good for individuals like that. Again, I have no clue what happened to the man that I was in communication with. I hope and pray the best for him. I hope that he had time. Like, I hope that the things that was on my heart and mind about him as I was dealing with him did not come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? I hope that he took the heed of that little bit of time he interacted with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting here trying to act like not because of me. Well, I'm saying because of the Lord. But, and things like that. But I have no clue, you know what I'm saying, what happened to that gentleman. And stuff like that. Who knows? But regardless, right? While we still have breath, right? While we are still living, while we still have time, and we don't know how much time we got. But while we are still here, like, why don't we just start to do things? I mean, if you gonna read the Bible, right? And if you're gonna see all these examples of, again, people that have that stubborn attitude against the Lord and how well it does not turn out for them. Like, what? Like, I mean, I mean, now to me, it would encourage me and inspire me to, let me figure out this thing. Let me get close with the Lord. Let me go deeper. Let me, pray. Let me let me try to figure out what's going on in this Bible. You know what I'm saying? And again, choose you this day who you gonna serve. X, Y, and Z. Why are you stubborn? That's the question today. Why? I know I came across something this morning and it was saying that people are stubborn because they're afraid of change. And I get that, you know what I'm saying? Again, like I told you guys some recent things. I was kind of, I don't know if I would say scared, but I was kind of like wondering like, okay, now I feel something within me shifting in regards to, how I'm handling masturbation and how I'm, dealing with the interaction with my husband and things of that nature. And I was kind of concerned, at least, about this concept of me losing attraction for my husband, or like losing, because I'm not, feeding, right, the fleshly desire of self-pleasure, you know what I'm saying? Or keeping that little side of myself burning, right? While I be patient with my husband, or whatever case may be, right? Like, those things were concerning to me, you know? Those things were like, okay, you know, this change that I'm seeing happening, I'm not sure if it's good. You know, because it's been a part of me for so long, and because I don't want to lose desire for my husband, and because, you know what I mean? Like, you have all these reasons, so you fear change. But on the flip side, you know, I always got the testimony of the cultivation period. And the beautiful thing about my journey is, again, I would not change anything that happened back 10, 11 years ago when I was struggling, single, horny, little Christian woman trying to figure this all out, you know, and being taken on this journey with the Lord to show me that, hey, you can have the things you desire, and I even want the things that you desire for you. But there are things you need to do in order to receive that. There are things you need to change about yourself. And again, I wasn't perfect when by the time I finally met my husband and things of that nature, and I still went through some stuff after I learned everything I learned in the cultivation period, you know. But at the same time, again, I can reference that life-changing moment, you know, that growing moment and that growing season, or that particular one, because again, we don't stop learning and growing and whatnot until we done, you know, until, you know, God writes the period and everything like that. But you know, I can look back at that time and just appreciate all the things in the journey that God took me on, the changes that I made, the sacrifices that I made at that time. And I ain't talking about the sacrifices that you hear about Holly Weird and all them doing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sacrificing my wants for God's wants. I'm talking about sacrificing, you know, what I thought was right for what God was showing me that he wanted for me, and what he felt was right for me, and things of that nature. Like sacrificing, you know, the friends with benefits that I used to have back in the day, you know, sacrificing, you know, that's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about that other stuff. You know, I ain't talking about that evil blood rituals and whatnot. Y'all can go deep about all that on your own. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and shout out my homegirl, Allie. I know I ain't heard nothing about them, and for, you know, I hope that her and her mother is well and stuff like that. I know that's probably like the top content that we got on our YouTube channel. But my whole thing is just getting the word out about the craziness going on in the world. So I'm not talking about them type of sacrifices that people do. I'm talking about sacrificing your idea and your mind and your will and your way to the Lord for his will, his mind, his way. You can't lose, right? I mean, you know, from what I'm seeing, you can't lose when you, you know, allow the Lord to lead and guide your life. You know, because again, years ago, when I was just single in my apartment, yelling up at the Lord, like, Lord, why you got me going through this? Why I got to stop masturbating? Like everybody out here in the streets having their whole phase. They out here. It wasn't hot girl summer then, but it was something like that back then. Look, having a hot girl every day. You know what I'm saying? And I can't even please myself. Why I got to go through this, you know? But now I can sit here and tell y'all about self-control. And now I'm experiencing self-control on a whole nother level. I am literally, and my husband can come and tell you, I am literally only allowing pleasure to happen with him and through him. I'm not even taking care of myself these days, you know? And again, that's a fairly recent development, over the past few months? Whenever he had that dream that I told y'all about. So that was a few months ago. I haven't kept up with the exact time frame and whatnot. But what I'm sharing all this to say is change is inevitable. Like, honestly, if you want to get to another level in your life, if you want to see fruit from, you know, again, doing things God's way, you got to change. You can't stay the same. You can't keep doing your same stuff over and 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 over again and expect a different result. That's called what? Insanity, is what they say. So why do we think that, oh, well, okay, I'll just do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and it'll be different maybe this time. Like, was it different the last 10 times? The only thing that's different is it's another day, and you just wasted it by doing the same thing. I mean, I don't know, like, why the Lord got me going so hard on this Saturday about all of this, but I think it's time for us to wash our hands of being stubborn against the Lord. Is what I'm talking about. Being stubborn against the Lord. At the end of the day, again, we all want the peace, the joy, the love. We want the fruits of the Spirit, but we don't want the roots of the Spirit. And that just came into my heart and mind. Y'all don't want to be rooted and grounded in the Lord. Y'all don't want to be connected to the vine, but you want divine lives and experiences. How? Sway? All right. Look, I'm just trying to be obedient. Look, all I wrote down was verses this morning, and I said, Lord, come and say whatever you want to say through me. So if you get mad about anything I'm saying, then I'm sorry. but not sorry at the same time. Because if I'm the first person that told you this, then, well, to God be the glory. I'm glad that you can finally receive it from somebody. Because, I mean, again, I can't even imagine, like, I have no clue where I would be if I still remained in my stubborn state that I was in 10, 11 years ago. Even the stubborn state that I was in before I met my husband. Like, if I was still that girl, who knows where I would be. Like, maybe I would have had a little bit more fame. I think about it sometimes, and I'm like, because my ex he was a super talented gentleman. And I think, because of the issues that we had going on, that we might have been able to get on, like, a reality show or something. Like, I feel like that probably would have happened. But the thing is, look at them folks on them shows. Like, some of them, they balling, they got their entrepreneur endeavors. And I'm not saying I'm jealous of that. I admire that, and stuff like that. But happily married, I mean, I ain't saying nothing against, people that, have, I guess, children by other fathers or whatever the case may be, things of that nature. But I'm grateful to have, that me and my husband, our son is both our first and only child. You know what I'm saying? And whatever other children that we have beyond that would preferably be just him and I. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the Lord's will. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying if the Lord's will. I'm open if the Lord's will. That's another conversation. But what I'm saying is, I am thankful and grateful for the life that I have. And I have no clue where I would be if I did not change. And, like I said, I talk to a lot of stubborn people. And I want the best for them. You know what I'm saying? I want the best life, whatever their heart's desire that lines up with the Lord's will and way and purpose for them in their life. That's what I want for them, like, so bad, and you just want to just give it to them. And you just I try to give, like, whatever wisdom and whatever that the Lord has bestowed upon me. I just try to give it, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this is what got me here, but for some reason people just want to remain the same. They don't want to change, and then they confused about why things look the same and hasn't changed. But anyway, yeah. And if y'all listening, I mean, again, I ain't called nobody out. So if you feeling some way, and if you be like, Miracle talk to me, she talking about me, I'm not necessarily talking about anyone in particular. I mean, like I said, I talk to a variety of people. But if you feel like it's you, then, friend, I love you. You know what I'm saying? And God loves you more, though. And his way and plan for you and your life is better than you can even imagine. Like, Actually, I was telling the young lady that this morning. I saw she posted on social media about, she met someone on a dating app, and I guess they were chit-chatting and seeming to be in a good situation. They wanted to meet up X, Y, and Z. But then the guy switched up and started talking about being friends with benefits. And she was saying that, hey, that's not something I would like to do. And he, I guess, politely declined, meeting up and things of that nature because that's what he wanted. And she was fine with that and stuff. But obviously she said shared it on social media. So I try to encourage and inspire her to let her know that, hey, at the end of the day, there are great, good men out here. You can hold on to your values and whatnot. And I'm sure you could come across somebody that will appreciate that and respect that and things of that nature. And, try to share the different, things that God has shared with me, like the book, as well as like, resources and other apps and things like that hopefully she can just, peruse and let marinate on her heart, soul, and mind, right? But basically I was sharing that part to just say again, like, I know we can get, again, discouraged along the way sometimes, and I hope that this encourages you and inspires you to not get discouraged. Don't be weary in well doing and things of that nature. Again, if you're going to be stubborn about anything, be stubborn about the Lord and his will and his way and his word. Let me go ahead and give y'all some more verses. Okay. So, Psalm 81, 11 and 13, or through 13. But my people did not listen to my voice. Israel would not submit to me. So I gave them over to their stubborn hearts to follow their own counsels. Oh, that my people would listen to me, that Israel would walk in my ways. Listen, if that's not the heart of God, I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, y'all can just plug your name where Israel is and just understand that God is talking to you. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to the sound of my voice today and you got this far in this conversation, then I would say, friend, that this is for you. Y-O-U. Whoever you are. And I have no clue who you are. But my whole thing is, God is letting you know just how much he cares and feels about you. Like, let's plug your name in where it says people and Israel. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll do it with my name and you just pretend that this is your name, okay? But my miracle did not listen to my voice. Miracle would not submit to me. So I gave her over to her stubborn heart to follow her own counsels. Oh, that my miracle would listen to me. That miracle would walk in my ways. Like, he is just pleading with us. He's like, oh, if you just listen, if you would just walk in my ways, I ain't got nothing else to add to that. Again, like, plug your name in there. I know I put my pronoun in there of her instead of their and stuff like that, and they. But plug your own information in those spots and see if that reveals anything to you today. Because I feel like the Lord was speaking through that. But anyway, so let's go to another verse. We got Romans 2, 5 and 6. It says, but because of your hard and impotent heart, you are storing up wrath for yourself on the day of wrath, when God's righteous judgment will be revealed. He will render to each one according to his works. I know that's Pope. Y'all might not like it. It might not be the best inspirational information today. But every now and then we might need a little Pope. We might need a little shaking. A little reminder of who God is. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, he's good, but he's also the lion. And I was seeing something today that was saying that there's only righteousness and wickedness. I shared it on our Facebook, the God, Sex, and Love Facebook. It's a quote that I came across. I mean, you guys can go deeper and look into that as well. But at the end of the day, you can't blame nobody but yourself if you decide to keep your heart and mind stubborn against the Lord. You can't blame nobody else. You can try, just like Adam and Eve. You gave me the woman, Lord. Lord, it's your fault. It's Adam's fault. It's the snake's fault. It's everybody's fault. No, friend, it's really just your fault at the end of the day. Because again, God has done everything, right, to let us know He is, right? And He's done everything to make that relationship right. He came down in the form of a man and took on the wrath, so we did not have to. So if we continue to, again, be stubborn against the Lord, then all we're doing is what that verse is saying, just piling up wrath on ourselves. And that's sad, especially knowing that you did not have to receive the wrath. But hey, I guess ultimately this is the juice this morning. There's plenty of verses to go deeper with and let all of these things marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. But yeah, the Bible verse of today is 1 John 3:18. It says, "My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love. You needed dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Did you know that you can support us for just 99 cents a month? That's right, friends. You can support everything that we do here at GSL for just 99 cents a month. Take a look around wherever this post is. You might see a link or maybe even a button that says support. Go there, check out the options, consider supporting us because, we enjoy bringing you all the daily inspiration as well as the weekly talk show, but we have much, much more to come. Thank you so much for the consideration. Bye-bye.